This morning we are hitting our push workout. So it's about 7:30 in the morning and I was up late last night editing that leg workout, and if you haven't seen that, what are you doing? Alright, I'll link it up somewhere here. We're hitting a push workout and I'm gonna go through some like things to get more out of your push workouts, more out of every single exercise. So some really common ones such as like bench and incline press. I'm going to give you some cues to get the most out of those exercises because they're such versatile exercises and everyone does them, but if you're not getting the most out of them, what are you doing? Anyway, see you in the gym. So, on to everybody's favourite, bench. Bench is a great strength builder for your chest, your triceps and your shoulders. Bench is a compound movement that targets all three of those muscle groups and is a staple that should be in everybody's push workouts. Let's take a look at some of the cues that you should be using when doing a bench press. Their hands, when they grip, just like this, so you're benching like that. You want to turn so that your wrist is in a safer position. You get more chest activation that way. Also, tempo, when you're coming down, you don't want to just drop the bar in you. You want to slowly bring it down. So yeah, first two cues, slow it down, wrist position. Okay, so something else you may want to consider for bench is grip position and elbow angle. In this set you can see that I have a slightly narrower grip position and so my elbows began to flare out. If this happens to you, remember to tuck in the elbows at around a 45-degree angle, lower the weight or take a wider grip. Right, so if you didn't see in that last set, I retracted my scapula, so I rolled my shoulders back. And basically what that does is gets you to activate more of your chest during a bench press. You may have also seen that before every rep I pinned my back into the bench. So what that does is it allows you to prime your chest before you hit your rep, and that helps with isometric contraction, which stabilizes the movement so that when you do your bench, overall more stable.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but
right, for incline press, I see a lot of people with either too high bench angle or too low bench angle. So if you make the bench angle too high, for example like this, you'll end up hitting your shoulders a lot more, and then the more you lower it, the more it hits your upper chest. So you want something in between a really high bench angle and really flat. So usually around 30 degrees, 30 or 40 degrees. So for me this is perfect. Perfect bench angle to hit your upper chest. Scap retract every single chest exercise, broad shoulders. Push it back into the bench. Squeeze that top. Cheek up low enough. Don't want your arms out here. Keep them tucked. About 45 degrees. Squeeze up top. Okay guys, something I neglected to mention before is abduction. When I gave the cue to squeeze at the top, what I really meant was to bring your arms across towards the center of your chest as you press. This is called abduction, and this sort of movement increases the intensity of the contraction of the chest. Cues for the Arnold Press. The first one is, the closer in you go, the more chest it activates. If you go wider, it's more shoulders. So, depends what you try to hit, but we just hit incline bench, and that's already hitting off the chest. So I'll be going a bit wider on these Arnold presses, just to get more shoulder activation. The other thing is, I see bare people, right, not calling you out or anything, but if you get tired, say it's like the last rep, you're like here, just like with the rest, and then you go like this, like that. It's not good. Firstly, resting at the bottom, and resting at the bottom isn't going to do anything for you. Second thing is, if you're trying to get that last rep out, usually you end up pushing your back into the bench, your arse slips forward, and then you end up doing like a glorified incline press, and you end up putting your back in a really bad position. So the thing is, for things like shoulder presses, make sure you hit your mid back to the bench. Your lower back doesn't have to be flat against it, but just make sure that you're not trying to push yourself forward into like some sort of weird incline press type thing. That just shows that the weight's too heavy for you and you lower it. So yeah, that's cues for the Arnold Press.
You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Right, so here I have a variation of a dumbbell lateral raise. And you're probably thinking, Tom, what are you doing carrying around those sissy 5 kilo dumbbells for? Well, my response to that would be, give it a go first and then judge me. In this exercise, you're getting 2 contractions, one off the lift and an extra little raise to get those delts burning. This exercise will help you focus on the contraction, unlike heavy lateral raises, which will usually get your traps doing a lot of the work if you're not using the proper form. So lightening the dumbbells and going with something like this will allow you to get that mind-muscle connection for those delts. Finally, onto triceps. Here we have the skull crusher, and bodybuilders swear by this movement. I absolutely love this exercise. Reason number 1 is that you get a huge stretch in your triceps. And secondly, it targets different areas of the tricep depending on what grip you take. Which is why I find it far superior to something like a tricep rope extension. If you take a wider grip, it targets more of the inner head of the tricep. And if you take a narrower grip, it targets the outer head. A cue I would give for this is to make sure you don't bring the bar overhead. You want to keep your arms at a slight angle to maintain the stretch and increase the load on the triceps. Another cue would be to push yourself up the bench to make sure that the bar can descend past your head. This will allow you to get a larger stretch at the bottom of the movement.
You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never.
Right, so do you remember that abduction thing I was on about earlier? Yeah, we're using it again here in the cable chest fly. This exercise is great for abduction and shortening that chest muscle. What I do to get more from this exercise is to cross over the hands in an alternating fashion. Another thing to do is to focus on pushing your chest out and scoop your hands down and forward. I did this on my second set where I moved the crossover. You get a really intense contraction when you scoop your hands as opposed to just pushing them forward. To round things off, Matt and I, as always, finished up with a bit of handstand practice. And that was the entire push workout done. I'll leave the sets and reps in the description. However, I would recommend training within your own capability and adapting the workout to your own personal needs. Just because I did X amount of reps doesn't mean that you have to do exactly the same. I hope that the tips I've learnt from the past few years will help you out, and let me know in the comment section how you're using these cues and if this video was insightful. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, a like is very much appreciated, and if you like my content, hit the subscribe button. And, as always, stay safe, train smart, and eat healthy. Catch you in the next one.